Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. We are having an amazing guest here in Courage Magazine Global. Her name is Teresa Lawrence, and I get to read a biography, a short bio about Teresa. So, Teresa Lawrence is a creative, visionary leader dedicated to helping others reach their full potential. She is an accomplished attorney, publisher, educator, and entrepreneur living in Western Wyoming. Her leadership program, called The Leadership of Play, is highly regarded and explained in the book she co-authored, The Power of Leadership with Teresa Lawrence. Teresa is very committed to helping children and building future leaders. As a Cuban immigrant, Teresa knows firsthand the hardship faced by refugees throughout the world, which led her to found the Trueness Project, a project with a purpose-driven mission to help children own their own stories and know that they are the masters of their destiny. As part of the Trueness Project, Teresa is donating her first transformational children's book, Gloriousness, to refugee and displaced children throughout the world. She just returned from Kenya, where she participated in the Kenya Keynote Speakers Tour 2023 with the Top Talent Agency. In Kenya, she spoke about the importance of teaching leadership in schools and gave her books away to children throughout the country. Teresa has been featured in the San Francisco Post, the California Observer, New York Tech, and Digital Journal. Welcome, Teresa Lawrence.
What a great introduction. Edith, thank you for having me here. I'm so honored and grateful to be sharing my story with you. This is going to be fun.
It's amazing. And I know how important it is to share stories like this, especially the stories that we break in through some kind of beliefs that we held in the past, and actually creating vision. So you are such an amazing example of creating your vision. Just before we started, you told me that you have created your goal that you set yourself a year ago. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my mother passed away a year ago, and I went into heartbreak, and I realized that I had spent my life taking care of other people, and her passing basically woke me up. And I decided that it was time for me to focus on me and what I wanted to do. And I wrote a list of everything I wanted to accomplish before I was going to die. And then I made a vision plan and I wrote out everything I wanted to do. And the more I focused on my vision, things started happening. I have done more in the past year than I have ever. I mean, I write something down, I set a date that I'm going to get it done, and it gets done. The universe is working for me. Somehow all of this is getting done. And I do have, my vision is all about helping people, which I think helps a lot. I think all leaders, ultimately, we're all here to uplift each other. And maybe that's why I've gotten so much done. But I do honestly believe that all the leadership training I've taken has really helped me. And that's why I'm so committed to putting leadership training and wealth consciousness into the schools all over the world. I mean, I just love that idea and I'm committed to doing it.
It gets to happen and someone gets to do it. So I'm glad that you are creating this for our children in the world. So where did the idea of starting your business come from?
Honestly, it started because after my mom passed, I found an outline for a story that I had written, and it was the story of this book, Gloriousness. And I wrote it because I'm an immigrant. My family left Cuba with nothing. Um, and my grandmother wasn't educated, but she was a brilliant woman. And she knew the power of stories, because if we own the power of our story, we own our destiny. And she knew that. I didn't know that. I was a scared 3-year-old child leaving Cuba with parents who were scared out of their minds. And I was absorbing that fear, and we had nothing, and we had no idea what we were going to do. But my father had an education, an excellent education. He was an educator at the University of Havana, and he taught medicine, and he didn't believe in communism. And so one day when they were playing the communist national anthem, he didn't stand up, and all of his friends, all of his colleagues pointed to him and called him a criminal, and he lost his job, he lost everything, he was thrown in prison, and he petitioned to get us out of Cuba. And when we left, we had nothing, but that man taught us something that honestly has moved me forward and has moved all of my siblings forward. And that is, if you have a vision and an education, you can do anything. The power of your mind is the most powerful weapon in your arsenal. And he became a doctor in Spain, and then he became a doctor here. And so I know that if I have nothing, everything is taken. I have a fabulous education. As part of my bio that you didn't read, I'm a graduate of Amherst College and of the Columbia Law School. And being an immigrant gives you a skill that perhaps other people don't realize. When you have nothing, you have to be creative, and you have to be able to assimilate information quickly. And you asked me where the story came from. This story of the book and my mission to give out the book. My grandmother gave me a doll before I left Cuba, and she said, tell your stories to the doll and always make the outcome glorious. And so I have a doll, and it's me. We get to the US, nobody could take a family of 6. We scatter. I end up with relatives I don't know, and I am scared out of my mind. And I would tell that doll stories, and I was a princess in one story. What girl doesn't want to be a princess? I was a butterfly. I was anything I wanted to be, until I realized I didn't need the doll anymore. I could tell any story, no matter what happens to you. It is the story of what happens that determines the rest of your life. My father could have chosen to be a victim, but instead he decided to be an explorer and a conqueror, and to go explore the world and be excellent everywhere that he went. And that's the lesson I learned. And my grandmother truly gave me a gift that made me a successful person, because there are a lot of children that are going through that. And I remember when COVID hit and there were all these immigrants on the border, and I saw children being ripped away from their parents, and I started crying because it reminded me of what happened to me. And I said, I had written this and I didn't publish it. And when my mom passed, I said, I'm going to publish it. It's a story about a child who gets to decide who she wants to be. And that's the point. Stories have power, and children get to have their power given back to them, or to have them hold on to their dreams and their power.
What a gift. What a gift that your grandma has given to you to give.
Incredible lady.
Yeah. And some children don't have grandmas, don't have grandparents.
Some children don't. I'm a very lucky person. I feel blessed. Even though my family struggled, I was given a true gift, and a great example by my parents of the power of education, and the power of your mind, and the power of setting goals and storytelling. So I want to share that with the world. That's where all of this came from. And I never acted on it until now, because it seems to me that it's time.
It it has perfect timing.
Mm.
It is a perfect timing for your book to be read. And tell me your recent projects and where did you come back from? Well, we
Oh,
read it in the bio, but you get to tell us the story.
you're going to love this story because you've known me for a long time, and it goes back to the definition of courage, but we'll get to that later. I signed up for an event. I had never spoken in public, and I signed up for an event called Fire Up Live with this magical woman called Marie Waite. And it is to go up on stage and to speak publicly. And this is before anything of this project comes out, of what I'm doing comes out. And I didn't want to sign up for it. And she said, Teresa, why don't you want to sign up for this? I said, because I am terrified of speaking in public. I'm going to embarrass you. And she took my hand and she said, not only are you going to speak in public, but it's going to be so amazing that people are going to be cheering. And it occurred to me, I needed to do something to be able to have that vision happen. And I wanted my books to happen. And how am I going to change the world if I don't speak in public? I mean, it's like I have this great idea, but I'm too scared to tell people about it. So it just stays an idea. And David Fagan, who runs the Top Talent agency with his wife, Isabella Donadillo, they are fabulous people. They've been going to Kenya since 2015. And first I signed up just to go to give away books and to give money. And Marie Waite goes, how are you going to speak in public if you're not speaking in public? And it was so funny. And so I said, okay, I'm going to be a speaker on this tour, because sometimes giving money is giving a hand out. And when you give of yourself, you're actually giving people an example of where they should be going. And so I signed up for the speaking tour, and I feel like I went to public speaking boot camp. I arrived at 5 a.m. and by 11 a.m. I was speaking in front of 500 people. I had never spoken in public before, and I was shaking. Hello, it was that scene out of My Cousin Vinny. Those students cheered me on, and I felt so loved. I was crying. The next thing I know, I get put on the news because all I'm talking about is leadership and education. I ended up on the national news saying that leadership should be taught everywhere. We were in Kenya 9 days, and I think I spoke in total, I might be off, but I think it was 11,000 people. It may have been more. But the last group of people, it was 3,000 people. And then I look at the videos and I say to myself, wow, I made a statement. I made a promise to somebody that I would get up on stage and I'd be ready. And I came back and I'm ready. I'm ready to go up on stage now. That's the story. Oh, and Kenya was phenomenal. The students, they are all so brilliant and so eager to learn that it was a pleasure being there. I am just so grateful. Oh, and I met the person in charge of education in Kenya. Oh, it was
Wow,
fabulous. So
that,
that is huge impact for me. Huge.
that's amazing that you have created what you wanted, what you declared that I'm going to be speaking on stages, and you created that. Sometimes we need a push, sometimes we need a pull, but we generate what we actually declare. It's powerful. So, Teresa, tell me, what is courage to you?
Well, given my last example, courage is being in integrity with yourself, with knowing who you really are and what you want. It is not living for other people. It is not, it is honestly speaking the truth, regardless of consequence. We are not here to please people. We are here to live in our truth. And courage also implies that there are a lot of fears that we have, and leaning into those fears is the only way we're going to succeed. So true courage is knowing what you want, being in integrity, and finding a path, even if it goes through deep fear, facing those fears to get you to your vision, because as you and I both know, the vision is more powerful than the fear.
Yeah,
That is what courage means to me.
well said, spot on. And so you had amazing moment in Kenya. What is your proudest moment so far?
From that trip was so impactful for, I mean, I know we went and we were there to help them, but every speaker got something from that trip from those students. And I feel that I got my courage back. Or maybe I found my courage in the trip, but my proudest moment was sharing my dream of leadership education and wealth consciousness with somebody in a position who can make a difference in a country. I often get asked, why aren't you giving out the books in the United States? Why aren't you helping people here? I went to a country and I got to meet the Secretary of Education. I got to give him my books. I got to be on the news and tell people that leadership education needs to be taught in schools. It was an incredible opportunity to have impact. And my message is getting out. And while it would be wonderful to have that message go out here, and I'm trying, I have a list of educators I call every day saying, hello, do you need help with your education system? We are here to offer leadership training should you need it. I kid you not, I do that every day. I have my little list. And it's much harder here. So I feel like my message, which is huge, I had to go outside of the United States so that it could be heard. And now it's rippling and people are hearing it. So if I could just give out one message, it's that children graduate from schools. They don't know how to handle money, and they don't know that they are true leaders. They don't know how to set visions and timetables and know that they have to lean into the fear. In fact, that's how the leadership of play came about. Because if I asked you, let's go lean into fear. Let's just, just face it. Go jump off that cliff. Go bungee jumping. Let's go skydiving. Or let's go speak in front of 5,000 people. Yes, that's one of my cats back there saying hello. We are live, people. But anyway, that would be scary. But if I asked you to come play with me and to go speak in public on a stage with me, because if I can do it, you can do it. You might be willing to do that with me. You might be willing to share your dreams with me and come play with me. Because when we're playing with each other, we're building community and we are getting out of our comfort zone. So there you go.
Definitely. I see that sometimes we get to go outside in order to come inside, rather than, like you said, oh, why do I need to go to other countries to spread the news? But if you're not being heard in your own country, you get to reach outside, you get to go outside. And it doesn't matter who who is going to be empowered by your story, because that is your vision, to empower children. You didn't say United States children only. Mm-hmm. You are here to empower children around the world. And whether that's Kenya, whether that's different country next time, it doesn't matter. You are creating a huge impact in the world. So thank you so much for creating your vision and going forward.
There's one other thing I want to share about the leadership of play, which is a phenomenal idea. And I want everybody to save the date, June 29th. 2024. That is going to be my epic worldwide community building butterfly event. I want everyone around the world to honor transformation, the power of transformation, the power of community. And I have my little hat here so that I will be wearing it on that day, and I will be wearing my wings. And in Jackson Hole, I plan to gather the largest gathering of people dressed as butterflies in the world. I've already contacted the Guinness Book of World Records. I would love it if every community had a butterfly event on June 29th, 2024. You all can pick a charity you'd like to donate to. If you want to donate to mine, great, but every community has a children's organization that you can support, and we can do this together. We can celebrate creativity, we can celebrate community, we can celebrate love, and the idea that parents and children are coming together to make a statement. We believe in transformation. We believe in leadership. We believe in community. I mean, it's just, I will be talking about this for until we butterfly on June 29th, 2024. So please save the date and get yourself a kick-ass butterfly costume.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I can't wait to create one. So we already went through that question, but I wanted to ask you again. Maybe you can give more specific answer why your work is so important.
I have come across so many parents all over the place in the United States and all over the world. Everybody wants leadership taught in the schools. It's not just me. I'm not, because sometimes you run across people and they want something and they're like, da 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 da, this must be done, da 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 da. It is something that people have been talking about forever. In fact, I usually have Think and Grow Rich somewhere around me. And that is an excellent book. And in that book, Andrew Carnegie said that if leadership was taught in the schools, it would cut the educational time in half, because you want children to have the skills to process emotions, to know that everything that happens to them is important, that they get to choose their emotions, recognize them, process them, and know that it is a way for them to pivot, to point them into another direction.
Yeah.
Children don't know that. They just know that somebody did something to me like 10 years ago, and they're still thinking about it 10 years ago. And so they're not doing something else. And then there are all these people that say that they're going to do something, and they keep saying that they're going to do something. And then you talk to them 10 years later, and they're still saying, oh yeah, one day I'm going to do that. Well, what if you taught people the skills to say, if you really want to do that, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
That's why the work is so important. And we have leadership is just so in every aspect of your life. If you take responsibility for everything that's happening to you, you take away the power from everybody else that you're blaming. Because sometimes things go wrong and you sit around, well, it didn't happen because I'm not rich, or because, or they're prettier than I am, or they're smarter than I am, or this happened or that happened. Well, that's nice. But maybe if you said, this didn't happen because there's something in me that allowed it to happen, and you just go through the steps and say, okay, how can I achieve this goal? I don't like this, and I'm going to make it better. I don't want to live in the past because that basically makes me angry and guilty and all sorts of things. Let that all go. I don't want to live in the future because that makes me anxious. It's now. This is where we get to live, and this is leadership. Life is now.
It truly is right now. And we get to be present to what's happening in the world right now, and how quickly we can create, shift.
That's why, I would just want to touch briefly on what's happening in the world today. I honestly believe that there are more people in this world that honor each other and honor peace and honor love and honor creativity and want a better future for themselves and their children. It is so sad to me when we choose war because it means that people are still living in the past in anger. And my hope and dream for the future is a peaceful one where children who don't know how to hate remember how to love and continue to remember how to love. And that's why the butterfly event is so special for me, because it is something born out of love and friendship and community. And it has nothing to do with the past or the future. It has to do with the power of transforming into something better than we used to be. And that is my hope for humanity, that we get to a place where we are better than we used to be. I understand that I am not in a position to judge anybody for what they're going through right now. It's just that I have a deep prayer for peace being sent out to the Middle East and around the world, because that is the way we move forward in conversation, in unison. We can disagree and still grow. That's all I have to say about that.
Thank you for that. It's a really powerful message to send out at this time. So, do you have any last tips that you would like to share with our audience about,
Yes,
perhaps setting goals or anything that
well,
comes to mind?
I want to make sure that I mention, because the Trueness Project just launched, and I
Yeah.
want to talk about the initiatives that I have. I don't even know if they're on their website yet. The website is yourtrueness.org. But I have two initiatives for 2024. And the first one is the Kenya Initiative. And it was based, all of the items I have listed that I'm going to raise money for are based on all of the observations I made while I was in Kenya. And the first item is I want to raise $25,000 for 10 Starlink satellite systems and subscriptions for 1 year. And the reason I want the Starlink system set in place is because in rural Kenya, there's no internet. There's there's no Wi-Fi. And so how is anybody supposed to be educated if, I mean, yeah, you have books, but Wi-Fi is the way to the future. And then I wanted, my second item was 100,000 for generators for remote Kenyan villages. The power goes out all the time. I mean, constantly. So they have no internet and no power half the time. So those were my two big foundation pieces. And then I entered schools that had 3 laptops for 2,000 students. I mean, I almost lost it. I almost started crying. These are brilliant, brilliant children. So one of my initiatives on the website is going to be laptop donation. If you have one or can buy a new one for a student in Kenya, that would be fantastic. And then I have 2 more. One is $300 pays for a year of boarding school for a girl in Kenya. I want to raise $30,000 for 100 girls to go to school for a year. And then my last item, which is so important, is to raise $25,000 for feminine hygiene products. When girls get their menstrual cycles, they generally leave school and they don't come back. And it's all because they don't have these things at the school. And it's so important. So if you're listening to this and you have the means to contribute, please go to yourtrueness.org and contribute for these items for the Kenya Initiative. I'm going to focus on that for 2024. And then the next thing I'm going to focus on is the Nepal Initiative. This one really is so near to my heart. My friend Paul owns an orphanage in Nepal, and we have spent hours on the phone crying because he wants to save everyone. And I keep saying, you can't save everyone, but girls and boys are being trafficked across the border. And I want to raise funds for his orphanage. And my goal for Nepal is 100,000 to support the orphanages and to bring education to Nepal. My plan for 2024 is to travel to Nepal to give out books and to talk about leadership. And if anybody wants to come with me to do goodness in Nepal, please email me yourtrueness.org@gmail.com. And I wanted to share that with you because that's what the Trueness Project is doing for 2024, aside from my butterfly initiative. And all these things are very important. And these are my countries for next year.
That's amazing. And I'm mind blown at the support that you are creating for the children and for even our friend Paul and his wife, because they are
Yes.
doing such an amazing job to taking care of those children, and they get to be supported. They get
Yes, in a major way. So please join me in going to Nepal in 2024. It's so important. It will open your eyes to an entirely new way of thinking about how grateful we should be for all that we have. Each time I travel, and I know nothing. I mean, being a Cuban refugee, I know what it's like to live with nothing. But when you spend time in the United States and then you think the rest of the world is like this, it's not.
No. Oh, thank you so much, Teresa. And we will share the link to a free ebook download.
Oh, yes. Today on Amazon.
So only
I think-
today.
No, it's today and tomorrow. You can
Today
download
and tomorrow. Okay.
The Power of Leadership for free as an ebook. That's my gift.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing your wonderful vision and your goal that you have achieved, and how do we multiply, Teresa?
Join me, people. It's the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect.
Yes.
June 29th, 2024. Join me.
We get to remember that day because it's going to be super special event and
Yes.
creating even bigger impact. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Edith. This was great fun.
It was amazing. Love
Bye-bye.
it. Bye-bye.